What is up, guys? In today's video, we are going to be reacting to one of the highest ranked console players in Fortnite Zero Build. This video is a little bit dated, but he was one of the first console players to hit Unreal, and this is like the first day that ranked was out. So the katanas and the Star Wars mythics are still going to be in the game, but I thought it was an interesting gameplay to react to nonetheless. If you guys do enjoy this video, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and comment down below what you play on. So I know a lot of you do play on console because I've made polls on my channel before, but comment down below what you play on. Personally, I play on PC with PS5 controller, and the person whose gameplay we're going to be reacting to is Pxkman. He streams on Twitch. His socials will be linked down in the description below, so his Twitch channel and Twitter account, so if you guys want to check him out. For supplying this gameplay, that would be much appreciated. So they land at Kenjutsu here. Like I said, the gameplay is a little bit dated, but this was like a really good drop spot just to guarantee that you're going to get katanas. And with there being multiple rarities of the katana, it was nice to go here just to hopefully guarantee that you were going to be able to get multiple purple katanas. That way you could both have one. So they end up cleaning up a few kills off spawn, nothing too crazy. First guy they just kind of catch split, and then the second guy they double team, and it's like not really much either of them could have really done. So decent start to the game for sure. Finds a purple katana here, that's nice.
You know, maybe you just don't play that
but
much.
Like, I don't even know how much I want to talk about this because it's not in the game anymore, but when the katana was in the game, having, you know, the same rarity katana for both of your teammates was super helpful.
I'm in elite, Elizabeth.
Because, like, you know, if one of you has a purple one and one has a blue one, it's like very easy to get separated. And just doing things together is oftentimes always going to be the best play in competitive. Like, I feel like that's one thing a lot of people could just easily work on, is just doing more things like together at the same time. Like that team they killed off spawn there probably would have had an easier time if.
It's funny because like I've killed all these kids in pause.
If they weren't split, like if they did something together, but they ended up getting two isolated 2v1s, and that just makes it super easy to get the kills. So you see this player ODMing here. I don't really think anything comes of this, if I remember correctly. And hopefully the audio is good so that you guys can hear me over them when they're talking. This is what I was talking about before with like doing things together. So like a team took height on them, but he waits for his teammate to go on it. And that's something that's so simple, you know? It's not difficult at all to like wait a few milliseconds for your teammate to get there. But like that can often be the deciding factor in winning and losing a fight. Just like having good teamwork and being on the same page together, all it really takes is like little things like that, like waiting for your teammate in those situations, or, you know, saying like, hey, I want to do this, and making sure that your teammate's down for it before you do it. See, like he just tells his teammate to follow him. I'm not sure, you know, how good you guys can hear it. Hopefully you can hear it, but it's not louder than me. But they're just always doing things together, and I feel like that's a super big deal, and it's not, like I said, it's not like you need to be the most cracked mechanical player in order to do that. It just really comes down to playing off your teammate well, or asking them to play off you well.
I think there's two teams, or
like I feel like people kind of overrate good teamwork at times. Like they, because they just don't naturally have like perfect synergy with their teammates. They just think it's like a lost cause, but it really just takes little things or waiting in little situations, and it could be a huge deal. So this isn't good. He gets in an isolated 1v1 there, but they end up coming out on top anyway, so it's all good. They had damage on that play already. I think he just went to thirst the person, and then the other guy popped out.
I'm surprised they didn't use that picture. Fighting? Oh, that's a bot.
And so at this point in time, the early game fights are over, and you more just want to be worried about where you're going to rotate to. The NPC is in the way.
Let's use that.
But they shouldn't have to worry about rotation too much because they both have katanas. Like if you're in a situation where you both didn't have katanas, that would be pretty unfortunate. Or like, you know, as it is now, like Star Wars or web shooters or the ODM gear. I don't know. I don't remember if they end up capturing this point. Yeah, they don't. It was just they were healing on it. So they go towards Mega City here, but they hear or see some fights going on at gas station. They hear people like heavy fighting at gas, so they just decide to get in on it. I did try my best to censor all of the curse words in this video. That's why there's like random times where the audio cuts out. But they hear this fight, so they're going to go try to third party it. And I think they hear both teams shooting shotguns, and then that's what prompts them to go on it. Because like if you hear two teams just kind of trading AR tags, you don't really know what's going on there. Like it might not be a situation where one team is incredibly weak, but if you hear a fight going on and both teams are actively shooting shotguns and actively shooting SMGs, that's probably going to be a really easy fight for you to just clean up in third party. Like once teams are having a close range fight, it's very easy for both teams to end up taking a decent amount of damage, even if one team does end up coming out on top. So I feel like that is one thing to keep in mind when you're third partying a fight. Not only like where people are fighting, but what weapons they're using, because depending on the weapons, like people will take more or less damage depending on it.
This kid might be coming to.
They catch good timing on this player here. Not much that guy can do. Again, look at this fight. It's a 2v1. Like, the player we're spectating and his teammate are together. That other player is completely alone. And so it makes it really easy for them just to get a pick there. And, like, that fight is so much easier to play. Simply because they are together. I mean, they get favorable timing, obviously, with that guy coming in on ODM gear and just getting completely caught off guard. But, like, at the end of the day, just sticking with your teammate makes everything so much easier. That guy made a decent play of trying to get away. They didn't get the thirst on that guy, but he should be bleeding out soon. Like, Storm isn't hitting for an absurd amount of damage this early in the game, but when someone's knocked and in Storm, like, yeah, they're gonna bleed out rather quickly. Also, like, this play there in Mega City, they just immediately go for the top of one of the roofs. Like, if you're in a spot with, like, high verticality or, like, you know, a clear power position, just going on it with your mobility before you get shot could be, you know, a difference maker. Whereas, like, if you're just kind of lingering down in the bottom for, like, a long time, it'll easily get you killed. And that's one of the things that's, like, really tilting to me sometimes when I do the spectating videos, is when people are super indecisive. And I feel like that's one thing you'll notice with a lot of, you know, higher skilled players, whether or not it's the right or wrong decision, they're just doing something and they're committing to it. They actually buy shieldfish from this player here. I did not know that NPC sold shieldfish. It's actually really nice. But regardless if it's a good or bad play, if you just commit to it and commit to it together, I feel like it's way more likely to work out. The cash comes in, they're going to go hit this and then fly somewhere. Personally, if I was them here, I would want to get the cash. Having the slurps is really, really valuable.
Oh, kids, can we get to the cell right here?
But they see some people fighting on that hill. And this is probably the better play, just to try to third party it, but they get visuals on somebody behind them, and they decide to focus on this, because if they land on that hill, then they kind of run the, and like start fighting that team on that hill. They run the risk of these people doing exactly what they were doing to that team, you know? Like, if they land on the hill, start fighting, that other team can like katana up to the flying thing and then land on them. So it was a decent play to back off there, I think.
There you go.
And the visual audio was clutch there, because without visuals, he might not have seen that at all.
W's.
Which is a super overpowered setting. It's in the audio tab, just visualize sound effects. I didn't use it for a long time, but I think especially if you're somebody who's playing team game modes, it's very, very valuable. Just being able to distinguish every bit of noise you hear, whether or not it's something that matters. You won't hear like crouching players, but you know, if you and your teammate are in a fight, both shooting, both next to each other, it can be tough to hear somebody like kind of creeping up on you. And visual audio just makes it, you know, very easy to see. Oh yeah, there's footsteps on us. And then easily clean that kill up.
We gotta know when to dive, otherwise you're gonna get your toast out.
But like I said, I would have liked to have gotten the cash if I was them for the slurps and the higher rarity loot. It's only going to be purple at this point, but if you're not going to get mythics, I feel like you definitely want the cash. Like, the slurps are incredible, but also just, it's hard to play green pump versus mythic pump.
I can feel myself getting entirely on shots.
Like, there's a lot of very insane weapons this season, and I feel like with the mythic pumps, you either get it or you're probably going to die to it. And it's like a similar thing with the pulse rifle at times, too. A lot of players lose to the pulse rifle, and like pretty much the only way to guarantee you don't lose to it is to like go for island and get it. It's a bit different in comp, like going for some of those more high risk things like the pulse rifle or the bosses, but it's definitely still something you would want to have. And then same with the slurps. It's just such an incredible healing item. Probably the best healing item that we've ever had in the game. And like I said, this is earlier on in ranked, so like the second day it came out, the games weren't as stacked. Like Fortnite has kind of been playing around a lot with the difficulty of matches. So the first or second day it was kind of more similar to a pub in terms of like how difficult the matches were. So you see them not carrying utility and just carrying weapons.
Is that you?
People at this brutal building here, they get a crack on somebody. His teammate hit them for 150, so they're just going to go ahead and push that and then hopefully clean this fight up. And like I've talked about so many times on the channel, like that's just like kind of cookie cutter way to win fights in this game. Get your early red eye damage, get in with mobility, clean up the kill, and then from there you probably have a 2v1 and it's much easier for you to play the fight. That player ends up dying to fall damage. This is such a scuffed location to fight in. I hate fighting inside of here.
At the basement level?
Like when you just had people ratting down there?
I don't know.
Figure out the angle. I think they're like.
It's always a very scuffed fight.
They're
They're trying to figure out where the people are. They know that there's people here, but they don't know exactly where they are. And personally, I feel like if I'm in this situation, I would want to just leave.
Alright.
Like, I feel like these ratty players, the only way they have any impact on the game is if you, like, go into their, like, nest and fight them, you know what I mean? So, personally, I would rather just not deal with
I
it.
think they're outside. But I heard footsteps.
But they are going to seek the rats out.
What the? I don't like
Yeah, they're in here.
Dang, that place looks so different on console.
Wait, come here.
I feel like it's actually, like, somewhat easier to see in there in console than it is on PC.
I don't want.
And now they decide to leave. But the rats ran out, I think. I don't know if they fight this. Got a like 28 damage tag on one. Hits a nice pump shot.
Okay, the other one's
Luckily he gets the kill, but this was not the best play because his teammate was like completely split. But the other player's teammate was completely split too. So it like guarantees a 1v1 fight, but it's like those could easily not go your way. And that was the team with mythic pumps. So they do end up getting those kills, but I feel like that was like a little more risky than it needed to be. If his teammate didn't pad or whatever his teammate did, I'm not really sure why they were like split like that.
Yep, footstep.
It ends up working out, but I feel like those types of plays are always questionable. They see people on visuals coming up again, so they just immediately go for high ground. And I feel like that's how you want to play this. He's kind of baiting his teammate here, but it was a good play. He gets like the damage on that player. This guy pads for some reason. And then unfortunately the green lightsabers are in the game, so he just gets thrown away, and that is going to be some foreshadowing of what to expect in this game. I feel like if you guys hate the green lightsaber force push, you are going to really relate to the gameplay at the end of this video.
I had one weak though, they shouldn't peek.
I'm fine now.
But that could have easily been a kill there. I feel like if the green lightsaber wasn't in the game, that player's 100% dead, and then now they have a 2v1 without really taking much damage at all.
Good, we can kill him.
Let's go around. Long way. Alright, I'm up.
That one dude was weak as you wanna katana?
But yeah, they just regroup after healing and then try to look for another opening onto this fight.
I just want katana on that roof. You right? How many katanas you got? You need 2.
Right now they're syncing up katanas. They're gonna try to katana there at the same time. That way they know they get there at the same time, and no matter what, they're fighting a 2v1, and that could be like really beneficial, because if one person was on the roof and then one person dropped down to loot, they would have landed on the person up top, got a 2v1, and then it's probably an easy way, or an easy fight to clean up, you know?
Get active.
They get good opening tags on this player, so they're going to push it. Completely agree. I don't know where the other one is at all.
The building right there.
But yeah, I definitely would have pushed that as well. They got good damage, and like I hadn't seen the second one. They fry this player, get a knock. But the other guy got away, I think.
How many slurps do you have?
0. I need to pick.
And again, I want to stress just like how easy this game can be at times. Like obviously, it's hard to do some of these things, but it's like, as long as you're fighting together, I feel like a lot of times you're just chilling in this game. Like I think the biggest thing a lot of players struggle with is teamwork, but they like kind of don't recognize that, and then like just complain about like having bad aim or not good positioning or whatever. But like if you and your teammate are doing things together, it can be pretty easy just to clean up kills in Zero Build.
Flare gun or something? See if you have flare gun first.
They're still looking for that solo player, that player's teammate they just eliminated. But I definitely do think that like some players kind of overcomplicate things at times, or like overthink things at times. The biggest thing, just play off your teammate, hit your shots, try to do things together, and like you definitely increase your chances of like doing well based on that. And it's not like the most, you know, difficult thing. Trying to get Tracker's armory here so he can flare gun around the map. They're trying to find that last player, that solo. I think that player's already gone though at this point. This is like pretty fine to do though, because I feel like you could be pretty certain if that you're alone on this side of zone at this point, because they've just been here for so long, and like they fought over here for so long that like odds are anybody else in this area would have attacked them. So I feel like looking for the solo isn't the like worst thing in the world. But it probably was somewhat of like a
Make sure he doesn't have have this car.
Like too much tunnel vision on that kill, and like we've all been there for sure. I do the same thing. Got this cabin here. Notice he gets to it and then waits until his teammate is close to open the door.
Oh, if we can get ice, if we just stay right here. Wait, come here.
Again, it's so simple, like that small minute detail, but it's like that's how you have good teamwork. They catch a team out here, get easy tag. Should be a knock, yeah. He ends up getting sniped in the back though, unfortunately. But that should be a kill.
That finish for me.
And then at this point, I feel like you could just back up on this. The teammate is gone.
I'm not with you. Chill.
Oh, never mind. Maybe his friend is fighting. But I was gonna say, the teammate is gone. You might as well just let him go, and then there's one less duo in the lobby. I feel like at this point in time, eliminating that solo probably doesn't change the game too much for you, and you're really chasing them into an area you know nothing about. So backing up here and just getting this positioning back, I think is the best play they can make. Let that solo exist. Like, there's still 15 other people in the lobby. Like, if you eliminate that solo, it's not like your life is really different. I think there is going to be a time where they hunt a solo here soon, and I do think it was a good play. But the difference is zone. But we'll talk about that in a few seconds. I think it's coming up here. Because, like, he had gotten sniped by that team in the back, so they weren't sure if that team was chasing. So I feel like just backing up to that house and, like, just worrying about positioning was the better play.
Lockbox or something.
Unfortunately, no heals in there. He wanted to get heals out of that. Still has a shield fish.
No.
I think there was a
god chest in here.
Yeah, I opened it already.
And they rotated ahead of zone, so they should have an easy time holding everybody else in the lobby. This lobby is like being weirdly like passive though. The fact that nothing occurred in that entire zone is kind of bizarre to me.
To the right.
See some people to the right, some people rifted.
Just hold this, bro. Hold the
Right now he's just telling his teammate they just want to hold zone. I completely agree. Like, I feel like the onus of doing something is on everybody else in the lobby.
This is solo. This is the same kid.
And then this is the time I was saying they decided to chase, and I feel like it's a good play. And the reason for that is because this zone just opened up, and then they were the first people to get here. So they can be pretty certain that there's nobody else on this side of zone. So if you chase that solo and eliminate them, you can just kind of go back to where you just were and hold zone. The solo ends up getting away here, but I definitely agree with pushing that solo there. I think that was a good play. Because if they just let him exist, now like they're kind of potentially pinched on both sides. So like the difference is like the solo before that they could have chased, they would have been chasing them into an area they knew nothing about. Whereas this solo, they were chasing them into an area that had just opened up. So it's like incredibly unlikely that there's anybody here. And had they gotten this kill quickly, they could have just gone back to like holding the rest of the lobby, I think. This zone is really bad though. It's on the ice lake. And they're just clearing backside of zone by doing this. So like that's the difference, I feel like, with why it was like bad to chase the solo before, but now it's fine. It's just like what you know about zone. They end up catching a team here. Get in an awkward fight with that guy. Using the katana. And this is where, like, if you had utility, you would have wanted to use it. So if you were carrying something like bubbles or bunkers, that would be a time where it's good to just throw it down, and then you don't take all of this damage there.
I'm good.
Bubbles would have been really good for that. Like, you just throw a bubble down, you have an isolated fight with that other team, and then you don't have to use a lot of your heals. But they don't have utility. A lot of people in this lobby aren't carrying utility. I feel like that's one of the kind of differences, like the way the game is developed. More like in sweatier lobbies, more people use utility. But when the lobby isn't as stacked, you can kind of get by without using it and just playing off like natural cover. It's like one of the main differences between Zero Build comp and build comp, or Zero Build comp and Zero Build pubs. This is a very unfortunate fight. It was like an awkward distance for any of his guns. Like, it's not quite shotgun range, it's not quite SMG range, not quite AR range. I do think rotating ahead here was a good play. Again, this would be a time where, imagine if they had a bunker here or a bubble. They're just free. But because they rotated ahead to like the good spot and nobody else did, they have that awkward fight versus that other guy. They're just like kind of surrounded here by a bunch of people that are just like kind of playing to like remain hidden, you know? That other team does have better cover. But these are the times where you want to use your utility. Like I said, they don't have any, but if you're in-game playing and you have utility, you potentially win the game off a bunker here, because you can play this positioning much more aggro and just pick off all these shambles players. But since they don't have any utility and they don't have any like established like good cover like a bunker, they can't really do as much. They kind of just have to exist.
Here, 2 minis right here.
And unfortunately, zone pulled really far for them. This is like probably the worst zone pull. Like if it pulled back the way they came or just straight backwards, then all of these people just kind of playing shambles spots would have had a much more difficult time. And I think that's that same solo they've been chasing forever. From like that little like outskirts brutal building.
We have to play trees if we can.
And he calls to play trees here. He just wants his teammate to katana into a tree and chill.
Find a tree, just play it.
I agree with that call. It's kind of ratty, but like there's times where you got to do stuff like that, and they're both pretty shambles. Look at their HP. So like probably the only way for them to win this game is to hopefully get lucky third-party timing, because they don't have utility, they don't have heals. Like it's not really, they can't really go somewhere and make like a dominant play. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, if they were healthy and had utility, they could just kind of get ahead in bunkers. This is a weird zone where that wouldn't have worked as well. But, yeah, you just got to kind of exist in a zone like this. And in comp, like, you could pick up a lot of kills in-game just, like, with how shambles everybody is. Gets a pick on somebody else in a tree. Unfortunately, his teammate went down when they went to, like, katana into trees. I'm surprised nothing is going on in this zone, though. Like, everyone's just kind of existing as well.
I don't even know what I was supposed to do.
But imagine if he had a bunker and health, gets ahead on this hill and then bunkers. Life is easier. But since he has none of that, he's just kind of playing the cover of the trees to hopefully isolate himself from the rest of the players. And he ends up getting 2 kills off of it.
I need that slurp, bro.
It's now a 2v3. Gets the slurp, that's huge. Just wanted to get back into the tree and drink it. Like, using trees like this can be so clutch in Zero Build. Have no idea what that player was doing. So now it's a 2v1v1 essentially, because that player got knocked in Storm. I think they're going to die relatively quickly. And that is one thing his teammate is calling out. So if you're his teammate here, one thing that people do in game when they're dead that's so annoying is they just like backseat game really hard. But his teammate is doing a good job of just like communicating like, hey, it's a 1v1v1. Like that could be really helpful. That way you don't have to go into like the menu and check it. Unfortunately, he's just playing against somebody that's playing full lightsaber. I think that player probably uninstalled the game when the green lightsaber was removed. And now it's a 1v1 and the final player is just playing full green lightsaber. And I think the way Pxkman plays this is incredibly good. Gets decent damage here. Unfortunately, that guy's green lightsaber is back. And I feel like this is where a lot of people would make a 50-50 play. I think myself included. I would have just got back in his zone and fought that guy. Because he knows he has him incredibly weak.
He did?
And he knows that player just used a green lightsaber. So, like, just going on that, I feel like a lot of people would have done. And it would have been a huge, like, 50-50. Like, maybe it works out. Maybe it doesn't. Because look at Pxkman's HP as well. They're both incredibly weak. But what he does here instead is he grabs this med mist and then he hard plays the med mist. This is very, very, very patient. Like, I think very few players would have made this play. Like I said, I don't think I would have. I think I would have just gone and fought the guy. So he tries to get back up into the tree to continue med misting. Like, he knows that this final player, that player's entire win condition is the green lightsaber. You know, like they haven't done a single thing other than that. So he tries to med mist a good amount of health. That way, if he does get knocked back in his zone, he can get back in. And then finally, eliminate the player and win the game. So that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys found this interesting. Like I said, that was a really good play in game to end up clutching that. I don't think I would have done that. I think I would have just went in and either killed him or died. And one of those things would have happened. But he makes a safer play. He gets the heals. He ends up guaranteeing the win. Like I said, his content, his Twitch will be linked down in the description below if you're interested in checking that out. Like I said, he is one of the highest ranked console players. This is from the first day that ranked was out, so he's champion in the gameplay, but obviously now he is in Unreal. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Give it a like, subscribe if you like some more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.